Didn't you say you read Stephen Hawking's book?
Yeah.
What was that like?
I was expecting, like a really, really difficult book to read, but it was a lot easier to read than I thought it would be. And it has lots of, like, diagrams in it to, like, kind of help explain.
What was he waffling about then? Like, just black holes and...
Yeah, it was, like, a series of, like, black holes, time. There was some good bits about time, actually.
What did he say about time? Did he say that it actually existed, or was it just a construct?
There's different theories that he discussed within the book, and I think one of them that was, like, probably the easiest to understand was that time was like a railway. And so you've got the train, which is like the present moment, moving along this railway. And the only way that time travel would be possible would be to somehow go backwards in it. Like I said, this is just one theory, so it's not like the only theory, but it's like if you were on this train in the present and you were going forwards in time, there might be an end of the tracks, or there might be, like, you know how you have different turnings off of the tracks that go in different directions. Those could be like things like decisions. So obviously the decisions that you make every day, they affect how your time goes on in the universe.
Yeah.
But not necessarily everyone else's. If you woke up in the morning and you, like, decided to go to Sainsbury's instead of Morrison's, everyone that was going to Morrison's would still be doing that, but it's your time that changed.
That's a
So
nice metaphor.
with the metaphor, is it something to do with the speed of the train as well?
I'm not sure about the speed of the train, because, like, presumably it'd just be going at, like, a standard speed along the whole way. Time speeds up necessarily during the day. It's
Does
like
it not, though?
you got seconds, and well, it might feel like it does.
Kind of like when you're in a car or whatever, that kind of the mileage that you do and the hours that you're in the car are set, but the way you experience them are different. It's like people always say, oh, the way home always feels faster than the way back.
It does though. It does definitely. But
Passionate. Anticipating it.
It feels longer because you're just like, oh, can it be here already? But then, like, on the way back, you're like, I'm just going home. I don't really care. And then it, comes quicker. So
do we need a time?
Yes.
Yes. Time is crucial.
Think about it. If we didn't have time, we would have to organise everything on the sun. So I'd be like, right, I'll see you.
Like a sundial.
I'll see you when the sun's at 60 degrees. That's horrible. How are we going to organise ourselves, man?
Well, I've heard Carl Pilkington say,
the great philosopher that he was.
If we didn't have, like, a calendar or time, then you wouldn't say, oh, I'm going to do it next Wednesday. It would be sort of, all right, let's get on with it.
No,
let's do it now.
It would be, I'm going to do it later, and then later would never come, because you can't, like, schedule it in. A massive part of the Industrial Revolution was, like, the beginning of shift work and things, of, like, you come here at this time and you leave at this time, and you make people work for that amount of time, rather than just, like, go and hunt for food.
So when did we sort of get a grasp of time?
They must have just known, right, there's a cold time of the year and there's a warmer time of the year.
Yeah,
like it's September, summer's over. They just be like, oh, it's a bit colder.
Yeah, so you think they wouldn't be like... What about years then? Because they wouldn't... Do you think they'd still be able to predict?
When did we start counting? How do we know that Jesus was about 2,000 years ago?
I mean, yeah, something that's quite interesting as well is...
But now we're going to get into, like, the different calendars. I think that's quite interesting.
You know South Korea, right?
Yeah.
Everyone has their birthday on the same day, and it's like the last day of the year. And I think that'd be better than just having, like, your birthday on this day.
No, I like my birthday. I don't want to celebrate my birthday.
Yeah, but it never
the same day as someone else.
It never lives up to it. If everyone has their birthday on the same day, everyone's out. One happy day where the world.
Imagine the chaos that would. Like everyone turning 18 on this day. Carnage. It would be awful. Couldn't imagine it. I'd be like trying to celebrate my birthday in a way that I want to, and there'd be like everyone in my house celebrating their birthday. It would just be awful.
People have this thing they like anticipate, like, I have to have a sick day on my birthday because everyone's going to, like, care about me for a day, so I need to look happy.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean?
Everyone's going to care about me for one day.
It is. It's
my one day of the year.
It's like, that's the day where you feel important.
Well, to be fair, because then you're like, oh, you have to be nice to me, it's my birthday.
Yeah, but do you?
As people get older, though, their birthday's less and less important. It's like, oh,
you don't want it to be your birthday.
Don't remind me.
Yeah.
And then no one really cares.
It's
like my parents, like, lose count.
Unless it's like a 50 or a 60 or
yeah.
something. Everyone's just like, oh, it's another one.
And it's just another step towards death, isn't it? at the end of the day.
It's a bit it's not exciting anymore.
You know
like,
what?
after 25, after your brain stops developing, then you're like, well, this is the deterioration of me. This is where I get worse.
When I was at my granddad's funeral, they showed photos of him from literally a kid at like 4 years old.
Yeah.
All through the decades to an old man, right? And I was thinking there, number one, I was like, it kind of hit me in the face about life is finite and I need to do things.
Oh, yeah.
But also, not just life, this stage of life. So you'd have photos of him at 19 or whatever, and then suddenly he'd be 35. And then you can't go back. It's like, yes, you can't have life itself back again, but you also can't have this stage back. So like, I can't be 18 again. And there are things that I can only do when I'm 18 that I can't do again. So it's finite every single day. It's like, I can't live the 1st of August 2023 again. That's never coming around again.
Yeah, no, that's really crazy, because I was actually thinking about this morning, and I was thinking how decisions that you make, like who you are as a person, you don't get like a second chance. If you want to change who you are as a person, then you have to do it within your lifetime. You can't just wait until the next game starts where you can change your avatar. You have to do it then, because there is no next game.
And the scariest
no next
thing
round.
is that you can be anything, but you can't be everything. So you have to pick something. Have you read The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath?
I haven't.
The only lesson I got from that book was she talks about how this young protagonist girl feels like her life, it's like she's sat under a fig tree and she's got all of these options, all of these fruits that the tree is bearing around her. It's like, they all look really nice. Which one shall I choose, right? And then she takes so long not making a decision on who she wants to be and what path she wants to take in life, that all of the fruit then goes off and goes bad and falls off the tree and then starts crumbling to the ground and wasting away, right? And that I get that feeling a lot of the time when I see all these little routes that I could go down in life, little opportunities I could take, people I could spend my time with, and they're all just like options, like this fruit on this tree, and I have to pick one, because if you don't pick one, then kind of life picks for you, and that's scary. And I feel like a lot of people have that. A lot of people have life picking, like life picks itself for them. They don't have that agency to be like, I want to do this. They just kind of get to that point and be like, okay, well, what should I do now? Oh, I'll do this because it's easy, or I'll go to uni because I want to get away from my parents, and okay, yeah, I'll get this job because I need money. You just
don't care.
Yeah.
It's like, I think it's really weird how people just don't care. Because not only are you affecting your life, but it's everyone else's life as well. Like, the decisions you make are going to affect your parents and your friends and everyone that you surround yourself with. And
your potential children.
And it's like, how can you not like feel the need to do everything? Like, I feel overwhelmed by the amount of things that I can't do, even though how badly I want to do everything.
But with all these figs on the fig tree, opportunity costs. How do you know which to pick?
You don't. At the end of the day, you don't know. You know, I could be a really good blacksmith, but I'm not going to try it. I think it's got to be, you got to pick something and see how you feel, man. The most important thing is that you make a decision, and also that you make it consciously. You don't let outside forces pick it for you, even if you're told this is the right thing to do, because who are they to say that's the right thing to do? And it's like, it's good to see it like a currency, I think. Something you spend.
Time is a currency.
Yeah, you can't really get it back, though. You can't, like, earn it, do you know what I mean? You can't go and buy some time.
No, but you can make it, though.
How?
I mean, waking up earlier.
Have you seen that guy online called Brian Johnson, who's spending millions of dollars to create this, like, program called Blueprint, where they're, like, reversing his age? And they did it. Yeah, it's actually mental. So he built multiple companies or whatever, and then sold them all, and just had, I think, like hundreds of millions of dollars or something ridiculous. Like, he'd never have to work again ever, basically. And then he's put millions of dollars into creating this program where they clock in absolutely everything: his supplements, his nutrition, his sleep, his exercise, his lifestyle, absolutely everything docked in, to see how long he can live. And he's something like 40 or something, around that age now, and they've predicted that he'll only die of natural causes at 109, and that number's still increasing. And my thought is, on that, like, buying time thing, his protocol now is millions of dollars, right? But the way things kind of work is, something that's new starts out as expensive, and then we kind of innovate and scale things to the point where most people can access it. What if there's protocols in our lifetime, because we're still young, where we can live to 100 just comfortably, and no other generation would have had that? I think it's possible. And I even think, to the extent that some point maybe in our lifetime we will choose whether we want to die or not, because there will be some kind of process of, like, we can put you in this robot, or we can clone you a new body or something like that, where
Keep
we can just
sticking a new long on you.
exactly, yeah. Until eventually you're just a robot, like in Futurama, where they've got all those people with their heads are in the water.
Just you're gonna die anyway. Like there's no matter what you do, it is gonna happen. So that's why you have to.
Well, it's probably because no one likes to think about death. No one wants to face it. No one wants to just stare it in the face and be like, "Come on, then let's do it." Do you know what I mean? We're all trying to hold on.
It's because no one knows what's on afterwards.
Yeah, and there's no way you can really prove it. There's no way someone can send you a letter from the afterlife. That'd be great, wouldn't it? You could FaceTime someone from heaven. Do you know what I mean? And then just get a small glimpse.
No? No.
Really, you like the fact that you don't know?
Well, I think that it definitely like gives everyone a chance to like make their own decision of like what comes next, because you know there are some people that are like, oh, it's just lights out, you're like worm food, and then there's other people that believe in heaven and hell, and then there's people that believe that you just stay on earth as a ghost or a spirit and like live eternally. But even still, if you live eternally, well, you know, quote unquote eternally, when the earth eventually dies, then what happens to you? Are you just floating around in space as a ghost and you're never going to die?
There's a plane of existence more than just the physical world that we have here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But when
you
people
get like
die,
transported somewhere else.
when people die, some people say they can still feel their spirit around them, feel their presence.
Do you think that's a mental thing, though? Do you think that's just
it could
something
be.
to make you feel better, like a placebo, or do you think there's actually science?
Yeah, you just got a few goosebumps, and you're emotional, and you know your brain interprets it a certain way because of whatever reason.
The only time I would think that would be a bit strange is if you genuinely say like someone you knew passed away, and you go on like 15, 20 years into the future, completely not thinking about them at all, and then all of a sudden you just get hit with this like gust and you're just like, oh my god, that person's now right next to me. That would be weird. But if it's like just afterwards, then it kind of feels like it might be a mind thing.
It's just one of those grey areas where we don't know and we can't prove it, so people have to make up their own mind.
I mean, we spoke to that ghost guy, Raymond.
What?
Raymond.
We had a guy that was
Raymond.
like, he was, I don't know, he was into his ghosts.
So basically we were in Colchester to film a video for a night, and we were kind of bored in the evening, and we saw this like advert for a ghost trail.
Oh yeah.
But it's only on Fridays, and it was a Wednesday at the time. But Jacob was like, let's ring him up.
Yeah.
So we rang him up and we were like, Raymond, can you sort us out with a trip tonight? And he was like, oh, I don't know. And then I was like, yeah, but we'll pay you and it'll be a nice time. We're visitors here. And he was like, let me just have a shave and I'll be there.
Great.
And then but I think his reason, he claimed all these ghosts are real from history and stuff. He was just trying to get money out of us, Jacob. It was a load of bollocks.
But the best thing he said was that the only time he was scared is when he felt like a chill on the back of the neck.
Yeah.
And that's really the most you can really get out of it, isn't it?
And that might just be like, I don't know, goose. You get that
Literal
kind of like
wind.
euphoria, it's like that ASMR tingle, doesn't it? That people get.
So it could just be a mix of your headspace.
It could be how you're interpreting your sensations. Yeah.
It's also like if you're going on an organised ghost hunt, you have it in your mind, oh, something might happen, and then like anything becomes a ghost.
Those things, the product that they're selling is not actually the ghost tour. That anyone can walk around somewhere, right? Raymond, we just walked around the city or the town. That's not what
you could have done that
us.
by yourself.
He was selling us the idea. He was selling us the fear. He was selling us the mystery. So that's why anything like that, you can't really trust it.
You know, when you're scared, you're like more, certain things catch you a bit, like
you're more alert.
Yeah, because you're in a heightened aroused state. You know, you're looking out for things. Not arousal as in sexual, but as in anxiety, like things are going on. I better think about this. So yeah, you do notice things.
And that's why you get scared after a horror movie.
I don't know. I avoid those at all costs.
It's just not real.
There was like Freddy Krueger, like visiting you in dreams. Like that can actually happen.
Oh,
like you can go to sleep after watching that film, and he can be there.
Yeah, because
he can't kill you probably, but he might be there, and you might have a nightmare.
You might have a heart attack.
Please, do you know what I mean?
I want to move on.
Okay.
Right. Getting bored.
Yeah. No. It's just I've got a lot of questions.
Okay.
So I know you're quite into conspiracy theories.
I love them.
Me and Joel have been talking about a couple recently.
Okay.
But I did a bit of research the other day, and have you heard of one called Tataria? I think it's called.
I don't know.
You, Joel?
Not by
Explain.
name, no, not by that.
It's basically a place that's no longer on the map.
Okay.
And there's a couple that are like that. There's Atlantis as well. I don't think so.
Oh, yeah.
You think Atlantis existed, didn't you?
Yeah, I reckon so. But anyway,
He reckons. It's good enough for me.
so around us, right? We look around. We have
The boxes.
Where's this going?
Okay.
We're in a room.
You look around,
In your uncle's attic.
and down the street there's a church, right? And there's all these buildings that we can no longer build.
Wait, hold on, rewind.
I'm
let me
confused.
finish,
We
let me
can't build
finish.
churches
Let me
anymore.
finish. So the theory is like, okay, all around the world there's these structures that would be near impossible to build, okay? And then the massive example of this is the pyramids. And people don't think they existed.
So now
Well,
you're
they do though.
Now you're going somewhere because I can't see the pyramids being done by human beings.
Apparently it was like, it'd be near impossible to build them today.
Yeah.
Why though? Because we've got more people today.
I don't know.
Because the thing about the pyramids that blows my mind is it was done on slaves, like with slaves that were only eating like the basic bread and water keep you alive type thing. If I was living off bread and water, I would not want to go and lift heavy rocks.
You're a slave, do you know what I mean? You have to.
Yeah, but physiologically, right, they're all very
You
weak. So you need like 50 slaves per big rock, and there's thousands of rocks, and they did it in X number of years. Just like, nah, something's going
Maybe because it's all made of sand, isn't it?
Well,
No,
it's like
sand is just very small rock, isn't it?
it depends which pyramids we're talking about. Because what I think is really interesting is that there's different pyramids around the world that are just not just like sand in Egypt and stuff like that. But there's ones in South America, and I think there's one in Mexico, but I'm not like 100% sure on that. But what I find interesting is that they'd all be built around the same time, I think, or like, give or take a few hundred years. But it's like they would not have been in contact with each other by the time that these were built. So how would they all look exactly the same?
And I saw a similar thing to that with the pyramids, and like I think it was like Machu Picchu in there as well, or whatever, and loads of these kind of wonders of the world, and they're all on a line around the Earth that line up around the circumference of the Earth. What's going on there?
How they were built, the argument, like, could the sand have been a bit different then? Because it's a long time ago, so maybe it was a bit more easier to build upon the sand.
It doesn't matter what the sand was that they built upon. It's like the rocks were like
but they're not just like making like a sandcastle, like
rock
patting out
squares, aren't they? That they like stacked on top of each other. They're not just like making a sandcastle, putting it in buckets.
Yeah.
But is the issue like how can they be built, or is it why are all these built on the same line?
Well, they're
both.
They're the same issue, but it's too like it's just the whole thing of like how have they done that and how have they done it in line with these other things?
It's sort of like Egyptians, isn't it? They got their mythologies. It's a bit creepy, isn't it?
All their gods and everything, like with like dog heads and bird heads and things.
I mean, they say that like the Egyptians were like obviously smarter than we are today. I just think that like they definitely there would have been some type of physics to make this pyramid exactly symmetrical, to be that big and like that tall and that wide, and there would have to be like the math that goes into it just to make it what it is. So
there's also a lot of rocks. Like when you're playing Minecraft, you're trying to build a nice perfect pyramid.
I never make it like it's never square.
Halfway up, and you're like, I've absolutely I've got this up.
And they're like uneven.
Yeah,
and it's like, what
they can't do that. They kind of got to that point, and if they did, they'd have to like, all right, let's get it all back down. And they can't just get a pickaxe and start like taking out.
No, so they would have had to make blueprints or something, a plan for it as well, and something like that being in multiple different continents around the same time. There must have been
dodgy,
like multiple different like colonies of people that were just like way smarter than everyone thinks they were.
Yeah, and I even think about it with like cathedrals now.
That's what I said. I was trying to say about the churches.
Right, okay, that's what because like you look at the crazy architecture and the peaks at the top and like the paintings on the ceiling. And
it's
stuff.
all very
Like,
symmetrical.
humans could do that, but if you went to the local builder and was like, mate, can you knock a church up in my garden? He'd look at it and be like, no, we can't do that. Or maybe they can. Like, can some builders email in and let me know if you could build a church? Because honestly, it's all the little complex bits at the top, and you go.
You need an artist to do the windows.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's
like,
just, yeah.
How do you make stained glass window of
You
Jesus?
stain it.
How do you make it perfect? A perfect image of like.
Well, I don't think you make it like while it's vertical. You make it in the shop, and then you like put the pieces together. It's like a collage. But then again, like even you couldn't just eyeball it. You'd have to measure it out and stuff like that.
Anyway, what were you saying about a place that doesn't exist anymore?
Yeah, we kind of went off on a bit of a tangent
there. No, things about it's about the pyramids.
Oh, okay. But you said there was a place that didn't exist anymore.
Yeah, and then you were like,
well,
the building.
About it. I thought you'd know about.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, but we can still discuss it.
Yeah. The only thing I know about it is it was on the map, and now it's not on the map.
Well, I want to know
the structures.
Where is it?
Asia, I think.
I want you to justify why you think Atlantis existed. Then, come on.
Some people, I talked about the first episode, underwater civilization, and some people must have tried it somewhere.
No, because
it must have been tried at some time.
Back then, Jacob, they had so much more space at land. They wouldn't even bother going in the water.
Yeah, but I thought. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong on this, but like I thought Atlantis was like a sunken city. I thought it was flooded by the amount of water. I didn't think it was built underwater. I thought it was above water, and then sea levels rose so much that then it was underwater.
I can believe that rather than people being on land and like, right, I'm bored with this land stuff.
Back to Minecraft, right? If you ever try to build anything in Minecraft and you like make a structure, you get sponges out and you put it in there. It takes like eons to just get all the water out and stuff like that.
It's difficult. They didn't have sponges.
Yeah, they didn't. They couldn't fly around,
Maybe it's like trapped underneath something.
Like what?
Like, you know how like
the Simpsons bubble.
Yeah.
Like...
They just made a massive bubble.
You know, in like Antarctica where there's like ice on top of it. Maybe it's like underneath there, so you're walking across it, but there's all this going on underneath.
So you think Atlantis is underneath somewhere? What do you mean?
Yeah,
underneath the water, and then there's another layer
underneath some ground. so you're walking.
I get what you're saying. I get it because right. So what is Atlantis? You're saying it's not on a map. What if it's like in Antarctica, like the entire ice continent underneath it? What if it's like down there?
Can't you like not go there as well? Like they don't let you go there.
Well, you can go on the peninsula, but that's about it. You've got the scientists there, you've got the tourists there. The only tourism that is there is like cruises, and even then you just kind of, sail along there. You get on your little boat and you go into Antarctica. Yeah,
truckers.
But what truckers?
Ice road truckers.
That's a great
show. In Antarctica.
That's a great I saw that TV show before. There's loads of fat blokes driving massive lorries through the snow.
I don't think they're coming off like Atlantis anytime soon. They're just like, I got this like ice shipment.
Gary from Lancashire's off to the Arctic Peninsula in his lorry.
But what if they're digging underneath the ice?
What does that have to do with ice road truckers?
They see someone underneath the ice, like, hello.
They're not alive. They're in ice.
They'd be freezing, bro.
They would be dead.
Do you mean like there's a layer of ice and then there's Atlantis underneath there?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I thought it was like it's just like in the ice. It's like they're not alive.
So ice road trucking starts digging up the ice. And then
Gary from Lancashire doing this? He's not qualified.
Get in, and there's this massive city underneath.
Like a cave.
But yeah, there must be something somewhere where there's something built underground.
Okay, but my other question is, how are they navigating how cold it is? Like, how are they dealing with that?
What do you mean?
Like, if there's a city underneath the ice, it's chilly.
Yeah, but they're not in. I don't.
If they're living underneath there in a big city, where are they getting heat from?
Why do you need heat to go?
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is though, right? If you live in Atlantis in this ice cave, right, under Antarctica, you're gonna be accustomed to it down there. You would though, because if like we went down and like threw you down there, right, you'd probably die, right? But everyone that lived under there for like thousands of years, they would have adapted to it. That is how.
Yeah, animals. They've got probably killer polar bears, and where it's thick.
They don't have polar bears down there.
Insulated skin. You know what I mean?
So we're saying there's a human civilization that originated there, or we're saying human beings like us went down there.
No,
it's a whole different thing. Because it's just be cold, we just die.
Well, okay.
Well, it doesn't have to be down there. What about somewhere, some desert or something?
Well, the sand would just like cave in, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Under the pyramids.
Maybe.
You're thinking about it now.
But pyramids, right? Is there an argument that no one made them, that is some god or something? Because the Egyptians could have sacrificed something. It's like, oh, right, we're killing off some people. Can you build us some pyramids?
That's the way they bartered it with God. We'll give you 10 people and 4 goats, and you build us this. Now, I think it was aliens.
Okay, let me just say something, right? The pyramids of Egypt, I think, are in line with, like, some stars in the sky, like, exactly aligned with them. So I've heard. Like I said, I can't, like, fact check all of this because it's just a theory. But, so, there's that aspect. And I heard a different theory about them, that they're laid out in the exact same way as, like, a computer board. Like, the original thing that you start with, you have, like, as a bird's eye view, you've got, like, the one massive pyramid and then the 2 others and then a path and then the 2 paths that go towards them. They're, like, laid out, you put a side by side of that and, like, a computer board, and they look exactly the same. And then people are like, oh, simulation.
I mean...
It'd be easy to show you if I had a picture. You just have to trust me.
The one that has more weight to me would be the one with the stars.
Stars, yeah. Well, and I mean, like what I was saying before about like the physics that go behind it. They could be an astronomical thing, like to do with the stars and like the gods, maybe.
Yeah, the stars to feel back in the day when there was less pollution and stuff. It must have been unreal. Like, that was their god. That's how they kind of, that's how they related it to
It's
God.
like how they say the Lord of Light.
Did they say that? Who says that?
You've heard that before.
Who's they?
Yeah, who's they?
God said, "Let there be light." Is that what you mean?
No. They call one way to phrase it as the Lord of Light.
Well, like light pollution.
I'm just trying to link it, right?
The stars of God because they're light.
Okay, so maybe. But
Maybe.
what's the purpose of the pyramids?
It
Like,
wasn't
why-
it like
why
an
they-
epic gravestone for like their kings and that.
Is it over a tomb? I don't know.
Yeah,
Is
I think
it?
it's it's
Oh
like,
yeah, they bury people there. Don't
they bury their like leaders. Yeah, it's like an epic gravestone.
Yeah, it's just like a big memorial, I think.
Maybe we should do that. Some old car park. We just have like a massive graveyard, but because it's always flat, isn't it? Just build like a storage of graveyards.
Dead
Yeah,
people.
but
That's a good
Atlantis is
idea.
under that graveyard.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Oh, so you want a pyramid of dead people?
Okay, this is like building things randomly in the current area that we live in as well. If you built something like this is going off in a completely different direction, right? But just hear me out. Building things on ancient burial grounds and then like having to deal with the bad omen that comes with that.
Imagine if you found out your house was underneath like corpses
Because
from thousands of years ago.
I mean, everyone who's ever died is buried on the earth.
Yeah.
Well, before cremation.
Well, yeah, but
When
I mean,
did
even
cremation
still,
come about?
particles. I mean, everything's made up of energy, so
But okay, I've got 2 points. Totally different. One of them.
right.
We're running out of.
Okay.
It's expensive to bury people nowadays.
Is it? How
Yeah.
expensive?
Everyone
if
in
you
my
die, it's
family is
expensive, isn't
cremated.
it? Well, if they're buried, right, they got a coffin. That's got to be quite pricey. And then you got to have the land to bury them. They got
Yeah,
a
you have to
spot
pay
of
to
land.
die.
So I'm saying stack. A car park is perfect.
I'm not burying my ancestors in a car park.
A
Okay?
multi-story car park full of corpses.
Okay, that's
Sounds like a morgue. That is a morgue.
It's a morgue.
Yeah.
I've heard of that before.
A morgue. That's like
okay.
like if someone dies, you like store them in this massive freezer.
Oh.
It's like then you get like drawers and stuff.
Ah.
That's
Okay.
usually where organ donors go.
Okay,
like,
but also an idea.
you know. So you don't have to like dig up people that like need their lungs,
Right.
What happens if you like bury someone and then after they're dead in their burial, then they go from their coffin down to the city of Atlantis.
Well, they're not
down
dead.
To Atlantis.
What? So you're saying?
Like the souls.
Oh
go
my
to
god!
this,
Wait,
city
Atlantis,
underground.
like Atlantis is heaven. Is that what you're trying to say? Like when you die, you go
Could
to
be.
Atlantis.
That's a good idea, isn't it? That's a good idea.
Wait, hang on a second.
They say Atlantis was nice. They say like that and El Dorado is like the gold.
El Dorado,
isn't it?
a Disney film.
No. El Dorado. I read it in 40 Hills of Power. They basically it's like the city of gold that all these explorers are trying to find, and they'd all die, and there are just rumours everywhere about this city of gold. They never found it, or if they did, but then they never came back because the explorers never came back, or they died or something. So they could have found it and then just been stuck there, and that'd be more rumours of certain. They're there now.
It's not making any sense anymore.
Then they die.
Cutting off your words halfway through each one.
Okay, no, right. Let me explain this properly. So, one fella, we're trying to find El
Gary
Dorado.
from Lancashire.
Yeah. Gary from Lancashire in his lorry. He said he's sick of the 9 to 5 and he's found there's some gold somewhere.
Yeah, he wants to find.
He got tired of Atlantis.
So he goes to El Dorado. He tries to anyway.
In his lorry.
And he dies. But then other people are like, oh, he's going to find this El Dorado. It must be great. He's still there. Let's go there as well. They die, and it's just this rumour.
It's all these iceberg trekkers in one place.
Yeah. All these corpses.
No, El Dorado's a bit different to Atlantis. Atlantis is
both not real though. Jacob.
Well, who says?
True.
They could just be these souls from coffins. So they go, they come out of their coffin, and then they go down underground.
Like a fart.
Yeah, because they're spirit, aren't they? Then their spirit leaves the body, and it goes underground, and or could launch up into the stars. Who knows? So it could be heaven and hell. Whatever.
Oh, damn.
In hell, you're floating around space.
I don't want to be launched up into the air after I die.
But in heaven, you're down this beautiful Atlantis city, and everyone's happy.
That's like the opposite of what it's supposed to be. Isn't like heaven supposed to be up and hell supposed to be down? So what if Atlantis is hell?
To be fair,
It's pretty fucking cold down there. Like
they say, don't know, the underworld.
Mm.
They.
Yeah, I don't know who this they guy is, but he seems to know a lot.
He's just
Full of a lot of shit.
So yeah. That?
To be fair though, right? I kind of understand where you're going with the souls floating out of the coffins, right? Because like the principles of science is that energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only transferred. And everything's made up of energy and atoms. And like, you know, you have like this table is made out of the same thing that I am. It's all just energy, protons, atoms, things like that. And so when you die, that energy, even though like, you know, the energy that is creating the neurons in your brain that helps you function, everything like that, even though that shuts down, you're still made up of energy. You still have the skin, like, just after you die. And even when that rots away and you're just a skeleton, the energy that's in your skin is still around. It's not gone.
Like decomposed by little microorganisms and then converted into different
forms of energy, because
Yeah,
then, you know, whatever the microorganisms are that have eaten you, those are now, you know, within that organism, which are making it function. Eventually that will die and it'll be passed on, but the energy that you're made up of doesn't go anywhere after you die.
Never created or destroyed.
No,
Exactly. It's everything. That's why I said earlier, like, everyone who's ever died is still on the earth, because even when you're cremated, that energy, you know, going into the fire that's cremating you is still there. You're just in a different form.
Circle of life. Yeah.
I like that.
The Lion King got it right.
Which is part of the reason why people, I think, probably believe in ghosts. It's because, like...
That's the bad energy.
Well, yeah,
Ghosts
but I
have to
mean,
be
ghosts
bad.
aren't always bad. It's just kind of the media.
When's there a nice ghost?
Like Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Prime example.
He was
No,
a
but
great
I
guy.
mean, like, family member who's died, right? You know, old family member who's died. They're not going to come back and be like,
livid.
"I'm Jacob, I'm haunting you." Like, they're not going to be angry, are they?
If I killed them, they would.
Well, maybe, yeah, but then, like,
You're not going to kill your family, though, are you?
I don't know.
Some other guy might, or Jacob in a different life might.
Jacob in a different dimension.
Yeah. I really agree with this, and it's one of my favourites. You might have told it to me. I don't know.
Can't wait.
It's by Shakespeare. Nothing's good or bad, but thinking makes it so.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that mean heaven and hell, one's good and bad, or does that mean nothing's good or bad? Do you know what I mean?
What
I mean, people have, like, over the years, have just decided that there's good and bad. But, you know, as you grow up, they do say, you know, they say, again,
There's
that...
a great line.
I know, that is great. They say that, like, the line becomes blurred and it's less about what's conventionally good or conventionally bad. It's about how you determine it.
Yeah.
That's that quote, basically.
And
Yeah.
what he's saying is, nothing. How something is more defined by how you view it than what it actually is. And you can take any example from your life, and you can always see two different sides to it. Even if it's the most tragic, horrific story, it's still a lesson. It's still something you can grow from.
So what's the good in hell then? Oh, look, the fire's pretty.
Well, if you're in hell, then you're not going to be seeing it as good, are you? Really?
So that's what I mean. It goes against that quote. But whereas heaven, the argument could be, oh, it's always good. There's no bad.
Yeah, but that itself is, you need the contradiction in the world in order to make it, you know, what it is, in order to help you distinguish what is good and what is bad. But if you're in a place where everything is good, it's impossible. Nothing can just work out for you all the time, can it? There's always going to be something that just isn't quite right.
I think Shakespeare is just talking about the way the human mind works, really.
Like paranoia and anxiety.
And the fact that, that's what I always think about when I have to do something uncomfortable that's good for me. It's like, nothing's good or bad. Just thinking makes it so. How can I think about this and then do it and get through it and, like, reap the benefits, you know? But I don't know. That's why I don't agree with the heaven and hell thing. I think they're, like I've said to you before, I think they're here now. You can be on earth and live in heaven. You can be on earth and live in hell. You know, you create your own little world. We all don't live in the same world. There's no way. The world is so complex. The universe is so complex that we have to simplify it down until, like, right, this is Joel's reality, and Joel lives in Joel's reality because that's where he feels safe and that's where he feels comfortable. And you both have your own realities too, and that's how it works. And the nature of your reality is defined by you. Yes, there are things outside of you that will influence that. You might be abused. You might have a bad childhood. You might end up in poverty. All of this, right? But at the end of the day,
but we affect each other's reality.
We do, certainly, but I don't think you can fundamentally change someone's reality. You just influence it. And I can still decide whether I want you to influence my reality. Because if I really wanted to, I could never see you again. If I really wanted to. But I don't. I still choose to have you in my life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and even if you don't see him again, he's still going to go on with his reality.
Yeah, his
That's
reality
still going to exist. Yeah.
My influence on your reality will then stop.
It's like sometimes, you know, when you just go through a phase of just seeing the same stranger over and over again, your paths just cross all the time. No matter what you're doing, you suddenly start running on the same schedule. But, like, you never go up and talk to this person. You just always see them around.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you never see them anymore.
It's like the people in school, when we just left school, they're just like part of the furniture. You know, you've seen them around for so many years, but you've maybe had one conversation with them in years. And it's just like, they're not real, man.
They have a tiny, tiny spot in our mental garage.
Yeah, they're not even they're just a literal tiny fragment of our reality. They may as well not exist.
But they're part of our existence a little bit.
They are, but are they influencing it? I don't know.
They did influence it, not anymore.
I mean, like, I think everything somehow influences, maybe subconsciously, like, how you view your reality. So, like, you know, the way this room is laid out is going to influence, I don't know, subconsciously maybe how I act, how I feel about it, something as small as that. Or, like, you go outside, how the street is laid out is going to, you know, be a factor in how you act and how you feel about it. And things that you wouldn't think of as being important probably do have a significant impact. You just don't realize it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Certainly, like,
like the butterfly effect.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't know but I think if I haven't interacted with someone, I don't think they've influenced me. If I haven't consumed any of their content, if I haven't listened to them,
then they're just an NPC.
Then they're just maybe they're
the NPCs.
Maybe they're just living their own reality. You know what I mean? Away from me, and that's cool. And I'm happy for them, and they should be happy for me, and we can just carry on.
I want to add something to NPCs, because Joel backs me up on this because we both experienced it. We were in Brixton. We were knocking about in Brixton.
Yeah, there was just a guy walking into a wall.
Yeah, we saw a guy.
But like it's Brixton though.
It was like some shop.
It was an arcade that was closed.
He was just walking into it.
Walking into the wall.
Like it was the edge of the map.
What, so he was just like continuously trying to...
Well, it was more like he was
like reversing, going back in.
He was shuffling into a door. Yeah, and we were like, that's a real NPC.
Yeah, but what if he was like blind?
Well,
But then he would turn away.
blind people have probably learned if I walk into something, there's something there, I should probably turn around.
That's probably the biggest evidence we've seen of an NPC, I reckon.
I think we should, if that happened again, we should go and just talk to him.
I should have filmed it, because then that's proof, do you know what I mean?
It's not really proof though, is it? I think we should have gone and spoke to him.
Oh, it's
Be
just
like, are
like,
you okay, mate? You know what I mean? And if
Yeah,
he just
but
looks
he
around
could
and
have
doesn't
been
have a
like-
response.
easily could have been like a crackhead and just like
He didn't-
been
he was
insane.
He was like 70.
Yeah, I was
in
going to say.
Brixton.
Well, maybe he's got like severe dementia or something like that. Like you just,
Yeah.
Like, I
He
can
forgets
understand-
every time he hits into the wall that like he forgets that he's done it again. So then he's like, oh, there must be a door here.
yeah. But then again, he shouldn't be out on his own. But he might have like escaped. I don't know. But
And that's again, Jacob. That's nothing is good or bad. Just thinking makes it so. You've interpreted that, and I've interpreted that as that guy's not real, but maybe he's just suffering in silence and we've walked away. And we're evil.
going to Atlantis, going to
Yeah.
hell. But
Maybe he thought it was like platform 9 3/4 or something, and we were just looking at it, and that's why he couldn't get through the gate.
maybe he knows something that we don't know
Yeah.
about that place. Maybe you do it a certain number of times and eventually you get
There's a
through.
connection.
It's like when you
It's
used to
like-
go like that on the table to try and get into the back rooms. Maybe he's like trying that
You
right
shuffle
now.
into the door 9 times and it opens.
It's like secret.
Yeah.
I told you, maybe he knows
Well,
something we
there's
don't
like-
know.
Do you know how there's like secret passageways into places? Maybe there's a
Like you
secret
pull
way
down
to get
a
into
you
the
pull
door.
down a book and like the bookshelf
yeah.
turns around.
But it's with this door, right? You know how people have like secret codes and stuff.
He's like bumping
secret
it.
codes to get that closed down arcade. Where's the shuffle?
I don't know.
Cameras right there. They're seeing this guy shuffling. Oh, he's part of the crew. Yeah, man.
He sees like on number 5. He's
And
like
inside
4 more
it's
to
like,
go.
It's like some mega high stakes poker game inside.
And you have all these people that we just think are senile shuffling into the door. But seriously, they're high tier poker players in Brixton.
It's like the entrance to maybe he was from like a different dimension and he was like, oh shit, I'm in the wrong one, and he
Yeah,
was
he's
like
trying to
going through
leave.
his secret entrance to get to the other one.
So, are portals real?
Oh, I don't know, man.
I honestly so think they could be. I mean, you know, if you're playing a video game, right, and like you have to, like the portals aren't always visible until you've like unlocked a certain level or like gotten the key or something like that, and then it like shows you the way to the portal, and it's just like, you know, underneath a drain pipe or something like that. It's like some random spot. Like, they could so exist, we just don't know about it. Like, that's kind of, I guess, the theory of everything, though, isn't it?
I mean,
Just everything that we just don't know about.
portals can exist in your own mind, mate. You can have an experience, you can go somewhere, and your whole reality can change.
True.
Also, when you move about, let's say I walk here to, I don't know, 45 minutes or something. Like that walk can go so quick, it's almost like a portal.
Well, you just walk.
But like the next day, I don't remember it. But I don't remember the walk. I just remember I went here and I went here. Do you know what I mean?
So yeah, but your brain
It's just like memory
Your brain
loss,
cuts out the walk because it's boring or not as interesting.
And then
You didn't actually teleport, Jacob. It's all right, lad.
But then, no, okay, bringing it back to the time thing, right? Because you didn't remember it because it wasn't memorable, nothing happened. So it just went kind of quickly. And you just
Yeah.
kind of disregarded it. I mean,
If you actually think about memory, right? Think about what you did yesterday. You just have a few details of like maybe where you were and what you did. But if I actually like asked you like what exact time did you
every
eat
single
breakfast?
second.
And did you enjoy it that much? And what was the colour of the wall in the first room that you went to in this place? And what parking space did you park in? Like we probably remember like less than 5%, maybe even less than that of actually everything that happens.
It's also for your presence though, because I could be doing something, but in my head I'm somewhere else.
Yeah, and that's a
And
portal.
I feel like that at work. When it's not busy, I'm there thinking of questions to ask on this pod in my head, and I'm only about 25%
You thinking about
present.
Atlantis?
I'm there, doing some boring job, folding whatever, but I'm not paying attention to that. I'm doing that because it's easy. It's like in my head though, I'm somewhere else.
NPC.
And maybe, Jacob, you are the portal, my friend.
How can I be in the portal?
Because you can go other places. You might not go there physically,
Dreaming.
but you can go there mentally, you can go there spiritually. Exactly. And dreaming as well, you go to
You
the
can
places.
daydream, can't you?
Yeah. And that's
Yeah,
the
you
amazing
can
thing
just,
about
like-
the mind. And I don't think like other animals can do that. I don't think they don't really have an imagination like we do. You know?
Well, I mean, I do think that my dog dreams though, because she sits next to me and she's always twitching
To be fair,
and stuff like
my
that,
old
and I'm
dog used to
thinking
bark
like,
in dreams.
Yeah, she's obviously thinking about chasing a squirrel or something like that. But
Maybe they do imagine things then.
well, they still experience the world, I think, and they still have a memory. You know, they know to come to their name, or like if you whistle, they'll like
Is
run
that just
over.
operant conditioning though?
I don't know.
But a lot of the time, pets just sit around, don't they?
Yeah, they can just do that.
So
and be
they
happy.
can
I
just
should not do
think
that.
all the time of just being in this other place. It's like, okay, I'm
I
back.
don't know if they are though. I think they're just sleeping.
Yeah, I don't think they like consciously be like, oh my, I've been here all day and they have not moved. Like, can they do
I've
something?
got nothing done today. Every day they come in
I've
there,
been
I've
so
sat-
unproductive.
sat on my arse. And every day they go to bed thinking that. And they wake up and forget it and they do the same thing. It's this
Their memory just resets every day.
Yeah.
A dog can't be productive though, can they? Because what is there to achieve? Okay, let's.
The dog
The
hustling.
only thing I would say is that
Like
okay,
putting stuff away.
when they're trying to
Cleaning
kill
up.
other animals, I think that's the only thing they can be productive about.
Squirrels you catch today, Gary.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the dog's like,
Gary from like.
Gary's not a dog. Gary's a dog.
Okay.
My cat, what's a good day in her books? Okay,
Or like getting a cup of mice and like.
yeah, that's what I mean. It would be killing a mouse or a bird, bringing it back, have some nice food, and be out in the sun.
Do you think that if you had like fresh puppy, right, and you taught it to do human things,
No, it wouldn't
would
do
it be
No.
able to?
No way.
But they do that, don't
It
they?
doesn't have thumbs.
But they take dogs from talent shows, and they want, they're always
Yeah.
happy, aren't
Yeah, but
they?
that
There's
is-
always an
that
extent.
to-
I'm not saying like,
that
can
to
you
me-
make the dog text? Like, obviously not.
But the dog doing a little dance on Britain's Got Talent, that's all just operant conditioning. That's the dog just being given a treat, doing a thing for hours and hours, and it's learned if I do these things, then I'll get a reward, and that's why it does it.
Isn't that kind of like how you train children, though?
Yeah.
I mean, they're screaming around in the supermarket, and you're like, don't do that. Or if they're being really good, you're like, you're really good, like, and well behaved.
Give him a
you
lollipop.
well, yeah, or just be like, oh, well done, that was like really good today.
So you could teach a dog to a certain extent as a child.
The thing is, right, I don't think they can't read. They don't have like language.
Yet.
I think
They do.
It's because you never taught it to them.
no. I'm not accepting that we could teach a dog English.
I won't say.
Parrot English.
No, that's not
True, you
No,
can.
it's about replicating the noise that it is. A parrot would not understand a sentence. It's
Yeah, but dogs understand. I'm convinced some animals, they do understand when you talk to them.
It's tonality though. It's not like the words. It's like
Well, obviously you can't have a conversation with it, but like,
what it's hearing is like the positive tone of your voice or the negative tone of your voice. It's not what you say. Like you could shout at a dog really happy things and it would still get scared.
true, actually.
You know?
If you shout at a human at happy things, then they would get a little bit scared.
No, but if I screamed like I really like you, we're really good mates, you wouldn't be this scared, would you?
Well,
I would a little bit because you're shouting at me.
Yeah, but you'd know it.
you'd be like, oh no, what's he
Yeah,
doing?
but for a second I'd be a bit.
you'd be a bit worried.
To be fair, like, you probably would not be able to teach a dog English, or,
Because they can even articulate the sounds.
no, because they don't have,
Their
like,
brains are teeny tiny, compared to ours.
Now, in this next one, it's really important that we get a girl's perspective on this because we've only got a boy's perspective.
okay.
So, Joe, it's your theory. I'm gonna let you say it, but it's the one about
Okay.
it's the one about men peaking before.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, there's a theory of well, basically we're gonna have to understand some things first. We're gonna have to take some assumptions that could be wrong, okay, but we're gonna have to assume them.
Okay, go for
at
it.
the beginning. So what we've got to assume is we've got to look at dating or human relationships from like an evolutionary standpoint. In that, the female is to have the child and procreate. That's not the only job obviously they had in their lives. And
You
for the
don't have
guy,
to, yeah, it's fine.
the guy to compete to gain
Right.
access to
Yeah.
the female, right? If we look at that then, and that's the assumption we're going with, then the main characteristics in evolutionary theory that make a female valuable in the sexual market, in inverted commas I say valuable, is fertility and health and youth. So you've got time to have the kid, you're able to have the kid, right? And for a guy, that is the ability to kind of acquire resources, physical strength to fight off other men, physical strength to protect the female, protect the children. We all agreed on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we're saying they're the key factors in a female, they're the key factors in a male. Now we relate that to our modern space age world, right? I think that girls peak in terms of their inverted commas value in this kind of evolutionary dating pool way of thinking much earlier than a guy does. Because 18-year-old guys like me and Jacob, we have barely any resources and we are weak and incompetent for the most part, right? Okay. But girls our age, that is where their youth, their health, and their fertility is at its highest. Okay. And if we're all assuming that what I've said so far is true, then that's why I think if you lined up, let's say 100, it's easy to think about it in our school year, right? Or our college year that we just left, right? You take all the guys and you line them up, and all the girls and you line them up. And you say to a guy, you can have sex with any of these girls, or you can be with any of these girls. He would say yes to 95% of them, or something very high, right? You switch it around, and what I'm saying, these 100 is just like everyone kind of comes to an average. Got really good looking people, not that good looking people, really annoying people, not that annoying, all of that, averages. And then you switch it around and you've got the girl's perspective, and she's got the opportunity for all the guys. The chance or the proportion that she would accept is much, much lower. And that's why you have a lot of guys who are very desperate, quite unattractive, and don't know what to do. And that's where the incel idea comes from. And that's where all these red pill, black pill ideas come from, because they are not valuable enough yet. And maybe we don't think about it because we don't want to think about it, but unconsciously that's what we're all doing. And that's why the majority of men's advice is work on yourself. What do they mean by that? What do you mean by work on yourself? You mean become more valuable, acquire resources, become stronger. And that might not be get a Bugatti or a yacht and a big house, because maybe they don't care about that. But maybe you need to build your own character. Maybe you need to get to a point where you can be financially secure to look after someone else and some children. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, that's basically, I want to know from your perspective, is that a load of bollocks? Or do you see where I'm coming from?
Well, I know that it's a fact that women mature faster than men. I mean, you can see it, like, I think a good example is within like secondary schools and colleges, because you see like just the way that people act, girls will typically act more mature than the boys. I'm not 100% sure about the science behind it, other than just the brain development, because I know it happens in girls sooner. Yeah.
A lot earlier.
And but I also think it's a lot to do with like society, as like, society since the beginning of time, like how people interacted in big groups and like with each other. Because I've heard this saying that's like, if you put a guy in a room full of girls, he's in heaven. If you put a girl in a room full of guys, she's in hell.
Yeah, and that's true, and it's interesting, isn't it?
I think that obviously that probably has something to do with the way that society's acted over time. But then at the same time, it would be, yeah, I see what you mean, like saying that like the incels and all of that, like guys will become more desperate and like, choose 95% of the girls in, the given queue. But yeah, I'm not really sure. That's a tough question.
So it's like girls peak around 18 to 25, right? And then the guys peak at about 28.
And by peak, we mean the evolutionary specific characteristics. That we don't mean just as a person.
Yeah, their value is the highest in that.
Right. Because you're at just like the prime point to like, that is typically when people have children. Yeah. Like within that frame. And then, later on, like when women stop having the ability to have kids, then obviously like, people that reach that age that like maybe haven't found a partner yet, they still eventually find someone, I think, usually. And then even still, that it becomes more difficult at that age because you're out of that window. You're not like within your prime. They say like that is your prime, your 20s.
Yeah. I mean, I also think like we live in a weird world. It's not necessarily worse. It's not necessarily better than the past with like social media and everything. Everyone has so many more options now in terms of like how far they can go to kind of date someone or see someone. It's that the kind of option pool is so much wider for everyone. So that means the guys and the girls at the bottom, which we can't, we can't lie and pretend there isn't a hierarchy. Those that are at the bottom are struggling more, and those that are at the top are doing a whole lot better because social media and whatnot gives the opportunity for their lives to be advertised across everything. And really, the only advice to the people at the bottom is get better, get like these people.
And in general, girls like older guys, and older
Because
guys like younger girls.
because younger guys than a girl are probably going to be more immature, especially at our age. A 25-year-old woman is not going to be with an 18-year-old guy in the majority of cases, especially in the long term, because we know nothing. We're just little runts. Do you see the fact that it's definitely the case that the females select from the males, and then that is why you have this culture of desperate young guys? I don't know whether we're more aware of it now because they have a voice in certain online places, or whether it's more of a thing in the modern day. Like, was there so many guys that kind of were so frustrated and desperate like there is now? I don't know.
I think that definitely stems from like social media, because you get more young people on social media seeing people like, I guess like the prime example would be like Kylie Jenner or something like that. And then they're all like, oh, this is like someone that I could have. And then like, obviously they wouldn't be able to, because like you said, someone like that would probably never go for someone like the person viewing. But it's just like people get more picky over time, like you said, because there's more options, like you can see more. And like, obviously social media has like the highlights. It's only the good stuff on social media.
Yeah, exactly.
None of it's like the reality.
Yeah.
It's just that's what people want you to see.
And maybe it's a lot harder these days to just be in the right place at the right time to be with someone. Like, you have to have need to fill more boxes because people can see what the other potentials are from online and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know what it was like in our parents' generation, but from what you hear from them, it's just more like, oh, I met him in a bar and he bought me a drink, and then we chatted and it went from there. That doesn't seem to happen nowadays. Also, because there's this sense that, like, if you try to approach anyone in public, you're creepy or weird.
Yeah, and like,
And I'm not saying there aren't creepy and weird people, because there are.
yeah,
I think the exceptions become the rule.
yeah, and it gets dramatized over the internet. Like, this guy kept staring at me from across the road. It was awful. But then, back in the day, it would have been probably very normal.
Maybe he's not being weird.
No,
Maybe he's
exactly. But it's just people are just over dramatizing what it actually is. I think a lot, just for attention, clout, things like that.
I've got cerebral palsy, so I look funny when I walk in a room, when I walk around. Not like completely different, but like you can notice there's a difference. And I've had it all my life. People looking at me when I go in a room. But I just learned to think they're not thinking anything bad. It's like,
no,
if a tiger came into a room, you'd look at it. If a chimpanzee came into this room now, we'd look at it. It's just something different.
It
doesn't necessarily.
It just catches your eye.
It doesn't necessarily mean someone's got any malintent in that. They want to do anything horrible. Maybe they're just being a person. Can you redecide where your eyes gaze to? Do you know what I mean?
Because for us, if there's a pretty girl, we're more likely to look
Exactly.
at
It's like a magnet, bro. It's like you have to play games with yourself because there's these socially acceptable rules that you can't do this, this, and this. But our biology is like, our eyes want to go in like loads of different directions that we shouldn't go according to society.
Yeah, and I mean, they say that, babies stare at people who are typically more attractive.
Really?
Yeah, there's like some sort of science behind it, that obviously babies kind of stare at everything, but they will fixate their eyes on something that they find particularly interesting.
And that's what we're all doing when we go out in life.
Yeah, we're really no different than a baby, really.
It's on things that we value and we think are valuable. That's how we simplify our world down and figure out what we want and where we want to go. Maybe that's just the same thing, but it becomes construed as, we're being horrible.
I also think that, like, with the relationships that you get, like how you were saying about how your parents probably met at a bar, and like you don't think that would happen going into the future of like technology and things like that. But I definitely see a lot of people talking about how they want to have like the quote unquote old fashioned relationship.
That's what most people want.
I think that's what everyone wants. No one really wants to find the person that they're gonna, be for the rest of their life with on like Snapchat. Like it
Yeah.
just
Online
doesn't
dating
make any
is
sense.
kind of horrendous.
It's awful.
it is
I hate it. I'm
horrific.
so against it, honestly.
It's all the worst people. Yeah, in one place.
It's because it's that one type of person that it's like, oh, there's no possible way I'm ever gonna get anyone in the real world. I have to resort to
Yeah.
being online.
Yeah.
Like it's the only way, but it's not the only way because you didn't have phones back in the day, obviously, and everyone still found people. Like you don't need a phone to find people, even just people you want to hang out with. You don't need it. It's just no one has the confidence these days to
Do you think that's the thing? Do you think
proactive.
Do you think it's because there's this idea that might be an exception that becomes the rule, that everyone's scared of being creepy, that then people are then held back from having a first interaction with someone, and then it kind of perpetuates a cycle, because instead of going up to someone and talking to them, I'm just looking over every so often, being like,
Right.
I really want to go and talk to
I
her,
think,
but she's
yeah.
I'm creepy, and she's like, why is that guy just keep like looking at me every so often? That's a bit weird, and then that cycle repeats itself.
I think it's become the norm, like significantly quickly ever since that, like, smartphones have not been around for very long, but because we've like gotten used to them so quickly, it's just become like horrendously like just it's bad if someone's looking at you, or if like you're on the other side of a park and you're seeing some people that you want to go and talk to, but you can't go and talk to them like you said before, because it's just become the standard so quickly that if you're in that situation and you keep looking over, that it's a bad
I
thing.
think one mentality I want to try and go out with is that, like, you've got to try and be a glitch in the matrix, because if it's positive and someone reciprocates, you can actually have a really nice interaction. It's like that guy in the sauna today.
Yeah.
He just heard us talking, right, about whatever we were waffling about, and then he just starts chatting to us, and we had a really great time. And if we'd have thought, some creepy old man, like, what are you doing, like, not,
Yeah.
kind of blank him off, then we never have that. And it's I think that's it. Like, if I go out there and try and be positive and just try and be, like, friendly from the off and start that conversation, worst case scenario, someone just goes, okay, just kind of blanks you and you carry on, or they
Yeah.
walk away. Like, that's worst case scenario.
The sad thing is, though, I think it's going to get worse, especially dating wise, because, well, when I do the research for AI news, the most popular one that comes up is people having relationships with robots. So we're
That's
seeing
awful.
we're going to see all these desperate men with, well, I mean, and women, I suppose, with robots. The dating market's going to get even sort of narrower.
Yeah, because also I think that's the thing. In this day and age, we have so many outlets to kind of scratch that itch, even though it doesn't do it as nice, like as good as an actual relationship or an actual intimate interaction with someone, like porn, and like that will go into this like weird robot dating world. It's like the world's a scary place. Everyone's creepy. I've got no chance. So I'm not going to bother, and I'm gonna be in my little porn robo girlfriend, like e-girl world.
But it's
You know what I mean?
It's hard as well, because if you try and be very present with people and try and start these conversations, people will be dead and turn you down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why you've got to kind of have thick skin in some ways and just kind of commit to it and be like, worst case scenario, they walk away, and that's it. My life, they'll continue with their reality. I'll continue with mine.
But I mean, I think we both had it when we try and start a conversation with strangers, and they're just dead about it.
Yeah.
It's like they don't bother
Yeah.
because that's not normal for them, and they're not interested.
It's because I think that as the world has progresses, like everything's become too convenient. You've got, instead of walking everywhere, there's now cars and buses and other transport. Instead of going out to buy something, you've got online shopping, you've got next day delivery. Everything's becoming too frequent and too convenient that your attention span and your patience decreases so much, which obviously contributes to online dating. You can't
100%.
wait any longer to go and find someone, so you have to find the quickest route, which would be to get the next day delivery with a person. You get that, it's like the instant boost that you get from getting something so quickly. It probably makes you feel more successful than you actually are.
That's a great point on something I was thinking about the other day. I re-listened to an old Rogan episode of a guy called Naval Ravikant the other day that I listened to like 2 years ago, and it was banging. And I re-listened to it, and he had this point that I really want to take away and discuss here, and that's he said back in kind of tribal times, we lived a life of scarcity. Okay, and we were trying to find abundance. Any food that we could get extra was great. Any information we could get that was extra was great. Any attention that we can get as extra was great. Any sugar, any salt, all of these things, that's what we wanted. Anything convenient was amazing because our lives were full of difficulty. And what he said is that in today's world, we live in a world of abundance. And the way you survive, the way you actually be happy and lead a good, meaningful life is you have to kind of live an ascetic lifestyle in some way and kind of create your own scarcity because there is so much abundance. There is so many calories, sugar, fat, salt, convenience, like quick, have this now, grab your attention here. There's a girl here, there's porn here, there's video games here, all of it, right? And you have to try and cut out the noise because if you don't, then you become a cog and you become a statistic and you become a victim of the system. And that's the weird thing that people don't realize. Like, yes, something feels good now, but actually it's eroding your life slowly,
Yeah, I heard this other great thing about trends as well and how quickly that they move. You see like those videos that people make on YouTube sometimes, like, oh, styles of hair throughout the years from going from 1900 to the 2020, and you've got like the different decades of hair or outfits or shoes or something like that, some kind of trend, and they're usually a decade thing. Like they happen every 10 years and then they change. Like the 60s were different from the 50s and the 70s were different from the 80s and so on. But now, ever since 2010, everything's kind of compressed, and you've got so many different micro trends that happen that there's no distinctive. That's so 2010. That's so 2020. It's all just like everything is compressed, and there's too much of it. Like you said, too much, like abundance.
and it's like our culture is shifting so quickly that we can't even really take note of what's
Yeah,
actually
and
going on.
like in the past, data travels via newspaper or like magazine or book or something like that. Now you've got social media, so you know what's going on the other side of the world. You didn't have to wait 3 days to get the paper in the mail or something like that. It's not a weekly thing. You don't, understand what happens in Japan through like the newspaper or magazine. You know what's happening now because you've got a live feed of it on your
And
phone.
all that information is painful, and also the majority of it you cannot do anything about.
Yeah, so what is, like, other than the awareness, what good is it that you know?
And I have this philosophy that, like, if anything genuinely happened on the news that would affect me negatively and that I would have to do something about, someone would tell me, like a family member
Yeah.
or a friend, be like, Joel, you need to know about this. About, oh, cool. Like, I didn't watch the news at all during lockdowns, but I knew there was a lockdown. It's not an idiot. Do you know what I mean? You just, you learn these things because you talk to people and everything. And I think people need to be so aware of their information diet. Like, it's not a trivial thing. It's not a trivial thing what you consume, because actually it molds the ways that you think. And like we said earlier, what you think about creates your reality, creates your life.
Yeah.
And if you want to live a life that's actually yours, you need to be more intentional about what you consume.
Yeah. From a business context, Dr. Dre has a really good quote that he says on a song called Wesley's Theory, which is anyone can get it. The hard part is keeping it. And it's about how you can get big quickly, you can have this small part of success, but because there's all these trends and stuff, it's really hard to maintain it for a long period of time.
And the only thing that maintains it is actual value. Like, that's what shows someone who actually is giving the world a level of value, is when they're still around 10-20 years later. The people that get a bit of like attention on TikTok,
Yeah.
or you're an Instagram influencer, like in 30 years, are we still going to have the same Instagram influencers
Obviously
when
not.
they're in their 50s?
No.
Right. And that's the thing. Fame, I heard somewhere, I can't remember where it was, but it was so good. And a guy said that fame and excellence are now not the same thing. I think it was Chris Bumstead that said it. Like, nowadays, you can get attention through not doing anything that excellent, for just being like naturally beautiful, or you had a video that went viral because someone found it funny for 10 seconds. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. All
Yeah.
you have to do is blow up. But the real people that are admired are the people that have this long career.
Like,
and
excellence takes years.
consistency.
It takes years in the trenches. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that, you can't do that overnight. You can't.
Definitely say the same thing about music as well. I mean, you know, you've got something like the Beatles who will forever be consistent. They'll stay
Yeah.
relevant. They have a relevancy in the world. But then you have people like, you know, singers or bands that were really popular 10 years ago that you never hear again, or you hear a song and you're like, why are they still making music?
Do you know what I mean?
It's like how
Yeah.
I said that last week with catchy songs and
Yeah.
it's basically that.
It's like the Beatles. When did their albums come out? Was it like the 60s, 70s,
60.
50 years ago, and we're still listening to that stuff? There's no way that what's in the charts now is going to be listened to in 50 years. No way.
Absolutely.
A small amount.
I hate all the music that they play on the radio.
Mm.
I can't listen to any of it. Specifically things like Radio 1, Heart, Capital, all of that. It's just so bad. It's not
The
music.
population's wired to just want this quick dopamine hit from music.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all the same stuff. It's all the same, you know, I'm going to go out tonight and get wasted. And it's kind of, you know, subconsciously conditioning everyone to think that's what's good.
That's what's your information, what you consume, you know. Most music is kind of, today it's so fluffy and just bland and like there's nothing going on.
It's also other things like films and books and stuff. People struggle to sit through a whole film. People struggle to read a whole book. And there was a thing I heard from the Sam Harris podcast with Modern Wisdom, which was Fast and Furious have like ridiculously sped up the amount of cuts.
At the beginning,
to the most recent.
You can count the number of cuts in like the Fast and Furious film, and the 10th one, and it's like ridiculously like the media will reflect how we all are in culture as well. Like if Fast and Furious, we can complain about the fact that all their films are so like highly edited, and we can complain about how TikTok's just a way that your attention is being grabbed in as little time as possible, right? We can complain about that and go, it's all so bad, they shouldn't do that. But if that wasn't what caught people's attention, they wouldn't do it. Like if everyone loved reading books and listening to long 3-hour pieces of content about an interesting topic, that's what will be massive. And that's the sad thing. It's like, yes, music is bland and fluffy. So are people just becoming more kind of
bland and fluffy?
It's easier to please.
Fluffy.
Easier. I get what you mean by fluffy. It's like
comfortable and
there's
stuff.
no real texture.
not even comfortable. It's fluffy. It's just like there's nothing there. It's full of air. You know, it's like there's no substance.
Like a marshmallow is nice, but could you eat 100 marshmallows in a row? No.
That's not what I was thinking.
Like
I was thinking like something like candy floss. You know, it's just sugar, but it's full of air.
Could you eat a kilogram of candy floss? No. It's
Yeah.
fluffy and there's no depth. There's no texture.
I guess a great analogy of candy floss, actually, now that I'm thinking of it, because you get the sugar, which is your instant hit.
Yeah,
but then there's nothing else. There's no nutritional value.
It goes in.
It's full of air.
It's like a pot noodle.
Yeah.
It's like a pot noodle. You have to add in.
Dissolves.
And that's what people.
And it doesn't stay. It's not consistent.
People live candy floss lives, man. Whereas I want a roast dinner, bro. I want a full sticky toffee pudding with caramel ice cream. You know what I mean? And a cheese board afterwards. Do you know what I mean, man?
Yeah.
Flavors and all the textures. I can't. Oh, yeah. Are we on to listener questions now?
Yeah. So we've had
I like how you said listener questions, not fan questions.
We've had
Jesus.
we've had a nice bit of support. Some of they're all stupid, but I think they have a little bit of value. They're worth talking about.
They'll be good.
So I've got two from
Speak your truth.
Someone, a friend of mine called Dylan. First one was, is water wet?
No.
It's wet would be
wet is to describe something.
It's a describing word, so it's like, you know.
Water makes things wet.
Yeah, water, like, it's like I'm dipping my finger in my glass right now for everyone who's listening. It's making my finger wet, but like the water itself is kind of just like the vessel, isn't it? It's not like.
I think it must be wet. Right, liquids. It's like flows, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
That doesn't mean it's wet though.
Yeah, but if it makes something wet, then surely it is wet.
Because like
So I make a joke that makes you laugh, but is the joke laugh? No.
it's not. But then again, that's like, I think the argument is like, oh, you can see water, it's a substance, it's there, it's like a noun. Water is a noun. But like, if you're making someone laugh, like, laugh isn't a noun. It's just like, what is it? An adjective? I don't even know.
The sun is hot and it makes things hot. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think the jury's still out on water.
I'm not sure about that one.
I'll say I don't mind. I just like
You don't mind?
Yeah.
Just drink
Maybe
it.
I don't know. I'll say no because it doesn't feel right to me.
I'll say it is because it feels right to me.
Why?
There you go.
Why is
What else
water
would it be? It
wet?
wouldn't be hard, would it?
Yeah, but that.
What's the opposite of wet?
Yeah, but
Dry. It's dry, isn't it? It's refreshing.
It's not dry, no. But
no, it's not dry. But then like,
the sun's not cold. Yeah.
it's like obvious. Obviously, it's
Of course.
cold.
If we think about it in the sun's hot and the sun makes things hot, so water's wet 'cause it makes things wet. Okay, yeah, move on.
Okay. Next one from Dylan. What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Right.
I hate this
No,
question.
I've got a good answer to this. I'm not going to pick either one. I'm going to create my own answer.
Go for it.
Back in the day, some organism that looked a bit like a chicken and some organism that could lay eggs, they had a baby. Or like they evolved together. The thing is, now I know about evolution, that wouldn't happen because they're different species. But that's what I used to think as a kid. I used to be like, something that could lay eggs and something that couldn't had a baby, and then it could lay eggs. But probably, I don't.
My argument
It's
is,
annoying.
God placed a chicken there. He didn't place an egg there because so he's got to hatch the egg.
Yeah,
So-
chicken came
because-
first. Yeah.
So we're
God
talking about God.
Yeah, because when God created all the people and the animals, one of them was a chicken.
Yeah.
He didn't create an egg. He created a chicken.
And also, for an egg to become a chicken, it has to be like sat on by a hen and given the right sort of temperatures. And so I think it had to be a chicken first, and then they laid eggs.
Because when he chucked out Adam and Eve, they were adults, weren't they?
Chucked them up.
he chucked them down as adults. He didn't chuck them down as like little
Eggs.
Yeah.
little sperm and egg. He didn't chuck them down as a sperm and egg who just somewhat clicked.
Yeah, okay,
Right.
yeah. With Jacob's creationism argument, I think chicken came first.
We got a question from Hannah. This one is my least favourite out of all of them.
Can't wait.
Hannah's listening to this, she's living now.
So she her and her brother both listen. They found us on TikTok.
Oh well, she's not even someone we know in real
No,
life.
no.
Aw,
Hi,
legendary.
Hannah.
She said, "Who would survive the best in a zombie apocalypse and how?"
Out of us three, or you two?
It was us too, but I'll add you in as well, so you're left out.
Okay.
I definitely die first because I think I'd be like, I don't want to deal with this stress. Just take me now. Honestly.
No, but that's such a shit thing
That
to
is
do.
a bit shit.
Why?
You
Because
might as well
That's giving up.
Yeah, that's like kind of being
Where's
like,
your fight?
I just like don't care. Like we were talking about earlier, you were like, we have to like take life as it comes, and you're just like, I'll let the zombies.
That
kill me.
contradicts everything you stand for.
It doesn't, bro.
Awesome zombies come along. Let's take the easy route.
Okay. Let me actually rephrase that. I think if it was inevitable that we were going to get captured, I just think, it's not worth.
It's not inevitable though.
Okay, so it's not inevitable. Because to me, I can't run, really. So if a zombie gets in, I'm done. I can't jump out a window, right? I could try and bargain with it. My best asset is my brain and my mouth, right, to speak, okay? But you can't bargain with a zombie. I can't go, mate, you've got so much better things you'd be doing with your time. You don't have to come and eat me. There's, all of this. That's not going to work, is it? So I think I'd definitely be the first one to die, and I'd be happy to sacrifice myself so you can eat me. But I'd be happy
I
with
don't
that.
want to. Okay.
But I could see you as a leader though, who just sort of holds the fort.
It does what, though? But because at the end of the day...
Strategy.
Yeah,
Okay,
you
survival.
like make the plans. Like you've got like your little zombie figures on the table, and you're like, right, this guy's gonna come in here.
I can make the
we'll
plan,
go that
but
way.
then if shit hits the fan, then you've got to carry me.
For me, I'll go
Weighing us down.
Yeah.
I'd go straight for the supermarket and hold that as my fort. We're having a whole supermarket to ourselves.
Like
Yeah, but
what,
then
like
you're gonna
are
have
we-
to worry about other people looting.
we
you
will.
know?
We
We're
will.
not talking about a small Tesco. We're talking about like a big, like...
Like
Um,
big Tesco.
You want enough food to live off.
Where would I go? maybe I'd go to a restaurant because that's sort of in the
Bro, they've got barely any food.
Yeah,
though.
they have like ingredients.
Not
You'd have to cook it.
A hotel then. I'll go to my work.
Right, but they still have a certain amount of stock. I reckon there's more stock in
In
like,
a
the big
supermarket,
Sainsbury's.
yeah.
Yeah, but everyone would go to this big Sainsbury's.
That's
Yeah,
why
true.
you have to go to McCall's.
Some no shit. All that stuff.
Yeah.
So what do you do when we've posted up in the supermarket?
Put my flag up.
That's the
Beware.
Why is that the first thing? It's a
It's a
flag.
flag with your face on it with like the skull and
Already
crossbones.
taken.
Yeah.
And then
Do not disturb.
I need to get some weapons, so I'll go out to the woods and chop some trees
Bro,
down, and I'll
that's-
build some
that's-
spears out of
That's
it.
so much easier said than done.
No,
Have you ever
okay.
tried to chop a tree down?
I know
Yeah, it's
someone
not like
that does-
Minecraft. You're not going to be punching at it. Eventually you get there. You're going to break
Where are you
your
going to
wrist.
get an axe from? Like where
The
you?
butchers.
What if the butcher's taken by the zombies? This is the thing. Once we're at this supermarket,
Yeah,
we don't.
butchers are raw meat. Zombies are heading there first.
Well, if we're at the supermarket, they're selling knives and stuff.
Okay, that I can see.
I'll get a bunch of people just chipping at it.
Like
And loads of people
slaves.
chipping at one tree. The tree falls though. What are you gonna do? You've got knives. You don't need spears.
Yeah, and then we'll
you don't
take
need-
the tree back to the supermarket and put it in the frozen aisle.
Why?
Why the frozen aisle? It's not going to. It's not going to rot.
No, but it'd be like easier to cut with it when it's frozen.
Why do you?
No, it
what,
would not. It would make it harder. Put it
What
in
do you
the
need a
like
tree for?
To get arrows and spears out of it.
arrows.
How are you gonna get an arrow out of a tree?
The bark, you just sort of get some fella to like twist
Great.
it
So it's
into
going to
shape.
hit the zombie and it's going to fall apart. It's going to break.
And how are you gonna make a bow?
How do you make bows?
Wood.
Bro, we wouldn't bother with all that. We just get knives from the supermarket and just be like.
To be
Yeah.
fair, if you got a knife,
You don't want to go near it.
how we
Bite you. You could chop its arm off and it bites you. You're done.
I just
you could maybe
don't
get,
like
you could get
zombies.
taser from maybe the police station.
But then you've still got to get near it. I just think I'd be like, look, we've had a good run. I'm happy to die. You know, because I'm not.
So what about you?
What about
I'm not
me?
scared.
Well, I think I would definitely. I wouldn't live in the supermarket. I don't think because like that. Obviously, that's where what?
You go for more countryside,
Are you gonna get food?
No,
like a farm or something.
a farm.
Herschel's farm.
I don't know. No, I just think that like you said, obviously everyone would go to the supermarkets first to get as much food as they could. But like, this is why some people like stock a bunch of stuff in their basement, like beans and stuff, because they think this is going to happen.
Yeah, honestly, if a zombie apocalypse happens, all those weird people with beans in there.
No, my dad hoards rice.
Then like they're gonna be
He gets-
shaking their hands. You dickheads, look at me.
It's like a thing that runs in my family. My dad and my uncle both are obsessed with buying cans of beans and rice because they think that like worst
Give me
comes to
dark.
worst.
One day.
Worst comes to worst, we got like we're eating out of this one big bag of rice. We have like 5 others in the cupboard. I think when it comes to a zombie apocalypse, it's not going to last forever. There's not going to be like infinite amount of zombies. They're going to be all dead eventually, right? You get everyone
Really?
together. I think so. You get all the humans together, right?
Don't zombies,
Because it will
like,
be. Well,
when do they
then
die?
When there's no more stuff to eat, because they have to eat to survive.
right, they have to eat brains. But if you have like, yeah, they're just hungry for knowledge. Yeah, you've got like the zombies versus the humans, right? There's no point in all the humans rebelling against each other. You might as well trying to get everyone one big community to take
What
them.
happens?
But
doesn't
people
it?
are going to do that because the corrupt people in the world are going to
I
get
know they're
greedy.
gonna go fight or flight. That's what.
Yeah, but they're going to get greedy and they're going to be like, now I want my family to have enough food. I don't care about your family. That's why communism doesn't work.
Right. Okay.
Exactly, because they'll be like,
I just don't like zombies. I find it a very impossible thing.
Yeah.
Like out of everything to worry about taking in food for.
The only way it's
I don't
possible,
think zombies
is if
is-
some like fungi entered your system and then
look,
True.
realistically,
Poisonous.
if it happened, I literally would be like, I've had a good run. I'd walk off into the sunset,
Oh.
I think.
in your house, like you've only got enough food for like a couple weeks, like
Yeah.
a month at best. So
Yeah.
you have to move. You have to
Well, I just walk
accumulate
into the sunset
resources.
and I just like,
Not me. I got rice.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't do you over
Can
a
you
month.
live off just rice though? I don't think you can.
Didn't
I
like.
think you
I
live
thought
off
like
just
the
potatoes.
Dalai Lama had like 1 rice a day or something like
Oh,
that, didn't he?
It's not
What's
that.
the Dalai Lama?
He's just like some Buddhist bloke. everyone
Yeah,
likes.
yeah. It was like we learnt about it.
Do you know what you
GCSE.
can live off though?
Alright.
You can live off just white potatoes if you wanted to. I don't think you can live off just rice though. Anyway, next listener question.
So
Thanks,
we got-
Hannah.
Yeah, cheers, Hannah. 2 from Layla. 1. How far does a bold person wash their face?
Oh, my bald friends wash their whole head with shampoo.
You have bald friends?
Yeah.
Huh? Okay.
Shampoo, whole head. Seriously.
Yeah, but like even your face.
No, not your face shampoo, but you.
Yeah, but they're talking about like doing your
Wash your
face.
face.
How far? Well, you wash your face.
Yeah, but
you wash
like,
your head.
yeah, I mean your face is the front part,
Your
isn't it?
face, when you're bald, your face is your whole head.
It's not.
Yeah, 'cause
you have eyes here, but I think it extends up very slowly, like when you're surprised.
You know, you got these like lines on your head. What are they called? I don't know.
Forehead
I
lines.
I reckon I'd go as far as my forehead lines. But I mean, if
Yeah,
it's
you're
a
not
bald
going to get
person-
forehead lines all the way
Yeah.
back to the
if
back
it-
of your neck.
You might do.
No, you're not.
No, you don't. They're always really smooth.
Realistically, I don't think bald people are wondering like, where does my face end and my head begin?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, some people do question like, oh, where does my head end and my neck begin, or something like that. But I don't know if it's really the same.
It's the same idea. It doesn't matter. Realistically,
I think.
hopefully, as long as they wash, I don't mind where
I mean,
they stop.
yeah. Why do you wash your face? Right? Maybe because you've perhaps accumulated like food particles on it during the day, or like tears, or something like that. You know, that's all on your face. None of that's on the back of your head, is it?
But bald people do wash their head with shampoo.
Yeah, I should hope so.
I've been told that.
If you are bald, send us a message.
Yeah.
If you okay, I have
and
a
let us
question.
know, do you how far do you wash your head?
Layla, I've got a question for you, right? Do bald people get dandruff?
Probably, yeah, because dandruff is.
Do they get like a dry scalp?
Dandruff is a scalp issue, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, so obviously it's not like a hair thing. It's like,
Know where your face ends and your head begins.
why are they always so smooth? Like, what is their secret? Like, I need that skincare.
Next question.
Well, why would it not be smooth? Like,
Well, because like I'm saying about
Real
like,
scratchy
you know,
and
you get like sometimes you get like dry skin on your face or something like that. You might get a bit dry like dandruff on your head, and then what do? You're just like flaky head.
flaking it.
Yeah.
it's another question about bald people.
What?
Does their head, if their head gets cold, do they get a brain freeze?
Oh, I'm not even answering that one.
No, that's
I'm not even
stupid.
answering that.
If your head gets cold, put a hat on.
Yeah.
But it makes sense though, because
No,
when you
'cause
apply
brain
ice
freeze-
cream, then you get a brain freeze. So if your head just gets really cold and
If I cover
know,
my head in ice cream,
brain
maybe.
freeze.
But
Yeah, then you just get cold.
yeah, because then it's like, oh, you don't get
But
like
Jacob,
arm
there's
freeze.
not much more insulation on your head compared to a bald guy.
true.
Yeah,
Do you
And
get a
I
brain
don't get
freeze?
brain freezes now.
that's alright then.
But if I do when I have a cold shower. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You can get a little bit.
yeah.
So maybe that's the only circumstance with some cold water.
Maybe a cold shower is more aggressive for a bald person
Yeah.
I don't.
because their brain gets the cold immediately.
Yeah,
When I get in a cold shower, it all just goes in my hair first and then trickles down to everything else.
I don't get in cold showers.
Oh, you did it wrong.
No.
Should have get on that, man.
You know, sometimes
Be prepared.
I know. Sometimes I'm like, oh, it's quite hot today. Should I just have a cold shower? And I get in there, I'm freezing. I just turn out.
So many benefits of a cold shower then. You gotta learn the ways.
We could do a whole podcast.
It takes my mood down. That's what it does.
Oh, no.
Get out of the shower. I'm in the worst mood. No.
No.
Yeah, but like,
No.
isn't it a thing that like typically like females they get colder? Like it's like a blood thing. Isn't
don't
it?
know.
I don't know.
It could be,
don't
though.
quote me on that.
The
I don't
way
know the
that-
science
it wouldn't
behind
make
it,
sense,
but
I reckon.
I news. I news. I news.
This happened in northern Kiev, just over a year ago.
Okay.
So obviously the war's going on, guns are blazing both sides,
Guns are blazing.
and there's this lieutenant, and he's closing in on a small patrol of casualties, right? Anyway, for some reason, there's a couple of robots knocking about.
Why? You can't just say that.
I think they got
wait, is this
they got
news?
loose. They got loose.
So in a
Is
war,
this a theory?
No, this is news that happened.
There's robots walking around in a
war?
battleground.
Yeah.
From-
So they got loose from a company.
They got loose.
What, like those vacuum cleaners that do it themselves? Like, what kind of robots are we talking about here?
Have you seen the Tesla bot?
No.
Yeah,
I'll show you after this.
That's the only robot he knows. That's the one he always goes to, the Tesla bot.
It's basically a bot that's like sort of shaped like a human and walks about.
Oh, yeah. What, the one that's like, it's got 4 legs, doesn't it?
No. There's robots that walk about. They can do. Okay. So anyway, there's a couple that got
Harmless.
loose, and they weren't supposed to be there. And because they're wild to protect, they're wired to protect.
What?
They join in and they go to help the Ukrainians.
Alright.
And they're throwing stones at
Why
the
didn't I
Russians.
hear about this?
I think one of them's got a slingshot.
Why wouldn't they get a gun? Why are they throwing stones?
I don't remember hearing about this
They're
in the
not
news.
sophisticated enough.
They're throwing
They're not
pebbles.
sophisticated enough to have guns.
They're like, yes.
Yeah.
So they're throwing stones, and one of them has a slingshot. And
And he knows how to use
How
it.
did it get the slingshot?
whilst after some talent, it'll teach itself. Searches
So
up how to
how
use
can
a
it not teach
slingshot.
yourself to use a gun?
Because that's a bit more complex. Not there yet.
What?
Anyway,
so
this-
it like built a slingshot.
No, they just find it knocking about. Anyway, most of the bots die, so they're not very skilled. But the amazing bit about the story is a grenade is thrown onto the Ukrainians
From the robot.
and the robot jumps on top of the grenade and saves all the Ukrainians.
What, and it explodes and dies?
Yeah, explodes. The Ukrainian lieutenant and a couple of his men survived just because of that. And they're trying to repair the. So after this, they win the small little battle, and they're there trying to repair the AI, and they managed to successfully power it off and on again, put all the bits back, and the bit that's a bit weird is the
This is the bit that's weird, okay.
The robot, when he's back powered on again, he believes that he's reincarnated.
That is a
How
load
did
of
the
absolute
robot tell them
drivel.
that?
Pardon?
I don't remember hearing about this in the news.
Wait, so they put the robot back together and it thought it'd been reincarnated?
Yeah.
It was.
Ugh.
How did it.
Why-
Did you ask it? And it was like, I'm new. I'm like.
Well, it just believed it was been here before, and yeah.
Don't understand.
Doesn't it have, and also, why is it jumping on a grenade? Surely that's not,
Well, it's
But if
why
he's programmed to protect, I understand that bit, but
How do you do that?
how does it know that that was a grenade?
Well,
How does it know that it'll protect people if it jumps on a grenade? Yeah, how do they know what a grenade looks like?
Well, they search up in their heads. Okay, this is what
They
this
search
is.
up while it's got Google in their heads.
Well,
It's got like Safari.
Well, it can do that, and obviously it can do that at really fast speeds because it's AI. So it search up. Okay, this is dangerous. Oh, oh no, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt these people. I've got to protect them. Okay, jump in front of it. Take the hit.
Oh, I don't
They put it
understand.
back together.
I don't get
Very
it.
happy about this robot. And
And so they put it back together, and it was like, it said to the people, I've been here before. I've been reincarnated. What? Reincarnated as what? Another robot? Or as a
it's-
person? If it said it reincarnated, I'm now a person, that would be a bit weird.
Well, it wasn't a person. It reincarnated and back into a robot.
Also, if we think about the word reincarnation, Khan is like meat, isn't it? That's why they say Jesus is God incarnate in meat, right? So reincarnated means you're like a fleshy, being. So the robot's lying.
And that was episode 7. Thank you for listening, everyone. Any questions, don't be afraid to ask. And we'll see you next time. Thank you, Sophie, for coming on today.